Hello and welcome to the Heart to Cross podcast. I'm your host, Skeeter Boyd. This is episode 4. The title of today's episode is Getting Tired Along the Journey. Getting tired along the journey. Real quick before we dive into today's topic, just a reminder, as some of you may have seen on our Facebook post earlier this evening, we are still remaining on Spotify, but we are also now on YouTube. You can look up Heart to Cross on YouTube. We now have that channel there, so that we'll have both avenues ready for everybody to be able to listen. We feel like this way we'll be able to reach more people, possibly, as not everybody has Spotify, but you can find us on YouTube now as well. And access the episodes there going forward, starting with this one. I came up with this topic because I was at the Heart Doctor in Louisville and I saw this painting on the wall, and the painting said, "You may get tired along the journey, but know that God is still moving." And what a powerful message that is. What a powerful statement. Because it's human nature for us to get tired along our journeys. It's human nature for us to become weak in hard times. And, me and my health journey right now, yes, I get tired. Not only physically, but emotionally, right? And spiritually just drained. And I feel like it's important for us to be able to trust God in those times and to slow down and allow ourselves to rest when we're tired, and not just physically speaking, but like everybody tells me along this journey that I'm on, man, you keep hitting these roadblocks or bumps in the road, and as we talked on the last episode, and what they're referring to is, I was diagnosed with the aggressive heart failure, and then I had the seizure. Then I had the retinopathy in the eye pop up to where I'm losing vision. So, it seemed like thing after thing after thing, and everybody's like, you're hitting these roadblocks, And yes, at times I felt like I was taking one step forward to take 3 steps back. But again, as we said on the last episode, I can either look at those as a distraction from the devil or an interaction by God. And that's, again, the way I'm looking at those are interactions from God. And that's what we're talking about when that saying says, you may get tired along the journey. Yes, you're going to, because it is tiresome. It is very tiring to continue, as we're playing this waiting game right now for my new valve for my heart. Yes, it's tiring. There's days where I am totally exhausted, just drained, tired of thinking about it and tired of waiting. But to trust God in those times and trust it in His hands so that I can slow down and rest. And that's kind of what that reminded me of. That saying on that wall when I saw it was to slow down and rest. It's very important for us to do that, not only in our daily lives, but in our walk with Christ. I think it's important for us to slow down and tune out the distractions of the world around us, and so that we can hear God speak to us, and you'll see Him move in those moments. I know, when I slow down to rest in those times that are hard, you see God move and you feel it. You feel His presence. And, the way I look at all these interactions by God that are happening along my journey is God's just making the story bigger and better. Right? And that's why I'm sharing this journey with everyone and sharing this story, because God tells us to do that. It's very important for us to share our stories and our testimonies. And I'll pull up a couple of scriptures. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see those as well here in just a little bit. But, it's important for us to share our testimonies and our stories because you never know who is listening and what they may be going through. And what you share in your testimony may lead that person to become a believer if they're not already. Or it may, even if they are a believer, it may kind of make them reevaluate their walk with Christ and or their walk through their journey. So it's very important to share our testimony, share our stories, and to share every detail of the story. And that's why, again, it's important for us to slow down and rest so that we can capture all of the details. And, to know that, like it says in that second part, to know that God is moving. You may feel along your journey not only like you're tired, but you hit a standstill. Well, I can promise you, just because you're at a standstill doesn't mean God is. Because I'm telling you right now, the God that we serve is not a standstill God. He is always moving for us, always fighting for us. And that's why it's important to do God's work as well. Because if we show that loyalty to Him, He's going to return it in our favor as well. So, looking at the Bible scriptures, this one here, you'll see highlighted on the screen, Galatians chapter 6, verse 9. And this is probably my favorite one. And this is probably one of the biggest verses for me along this journey that I'm on. It says, "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. And just at the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." That's the important part, you guys. That's the important part. That very last sentence there, the very last portion of that last sentence, if we don't give up. So there, God is telling us, if you keep fighting, I'm going to keep fighting for you. If you keep fighting, I'm going to keep fighting for you. And so that's the one about the journey. Now, we're going to go over to John chapter 1. You found it? Right here. John chapter 1. I'll highlight it. I apologize. Thought I already had it highlighted. We're going to read verses 6 through 9. It says, "God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. John himself was not the light. He was simply a witness to tell about the light. The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world." Okay, well, God tells us Jesus is coming back. Christ is going to return, right? So there is the last part. He's coming into the world, okay? God sent a man, John the Baptist, to tell about the light so that everyone might believe because of his testimony. There it is. God is telling us right here in Scripture to share our testimony because everyone might believe because of your testimony. Okay, put your name right there instead of John the Baptist and reread that verse. God sent a person, enter your name, to tell about the light as that everyone might believe because of your testimony. Okay, so right there it is again, God telling us in Scripture, it is vitally important for us to share our testimony and our story of what God has done for us, through our journeys, because others may come to believe in Him because of our story. So that is all I have for this episode. I know it is not as lengthy as some of the others, but I felt like it was an important topic to bring up along this journey. And I hope you all have enjoyed this podcast so far. And I look forward to continuing this again now on Spotify and on YouTube. And I hope you all are enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying doing it. And thank you for listening, and God bless.